Guys, trying to get more people in the building. You already know the deal. Let's see. Switch. Yeah. All right. Get situated. Okay. What's going on, everybody? This is not going to be too long. Okay. Let's see. What's going on here? All right. All right, how's everybody doing today? Okay. All right, let's get to this Raw recap. Let's talk about what happened yesterday. All right, first up on the list, we got CM Punk. He shot a promo yesterday, and he shot a promo, and he was referencing through John Cena entering the Royal Rumble. And with that being said, when he mentioned John Cena entering the Royal Rumble, then he started talking about why doesn't he enter the Royal Rumble to actually give him an opportunity to win the championship as well. So, I'm over here looking at my notes here, so bear with me. Then he went out and then he said he's going to win the Royal Rumble. He's going to actually, once he wins the Royal Rumble, he's going to do the traditional pointing of that WrestleMania banner. You already know the deal. Then when he points at the WrestleMania banner, that's going to signify of him winning the Royal Rumble, obviously, and making his way to WrestleMania to challenge whoever is the heavyweight champion of the world at that time. And then he said, as he points to that banner, you're going to hear his music. And then he said, hit the music. And that kind of signified as if his promo was over. But then he got interrupted by Seth freaking Rollins. So Seth Rollins comes in, and they had a little stare down that happened. What was interesting was he pointed out he had a bruised eye. I believe it was on the right-hand side. He had a bruised eye. And it's funny, I seen a highlight video of that particular match, and that was a good thing. It was just workers taking care of each other. When Seth Rollins actually got bruised in this match, you seen CM Punk actually whispering to the referee saying, yo, make sure he's okay. And you seen the actual referee going to Seth Rollins and checking up on him and stuff like that. So, but yeah, CM Punk, Seth Rollins received that black eye pertaining to the matchup they had on the debut of Raw. Um, that was debuted on Netflix. That was last Monday. And yeah, they had a little back and forth. Then after that, who interrupts? You got Drew McIntyre. Then Drew McIntyre comes in, and then Drew McIntyre starts talking about how he too is going to throw in his hat as far as for the Royal Rumble itself. So, with that being said, then we had Penta versus Gable. That was an interesting matchup to me. Um, if almost all right. First of all, I'm gonna be honest with you. This particular Raw did not have that WrestleMania feel that the first Raw had, and obviously for obvious reason, Triple H had the cards stacked against to try to, impress Netflix to let them know that they made a good deal, invest in. But the reason I mentioned that is Penta's entrance. It was something else, and what caught my eye, I seen a little girl crying in the front row, and I was like, okay. I mean, not for nothing. Yeah, I get he's the next best thing. The he's coming after the throne of Rey Mysterio, so to speak. And I was wondering why she was crying and stuff, and come to find out that was his daughter and his family member. I found that out at the end of the match. So pretty much this match felt like it was a build of the passing of the torch to Rey Mysterio to Penta. He's supposed to be the next best thing as far as coming from Mexico. So that was something very special. Yeah, Gable, to me personally, he has that whole Kurt Angle situation going on for him. Um, but yeah, that was an excellent match. A lot of back and forth. Penta ends up winning the match, gave a little speech at the end, end up kissing his family members, and then they end up moving on. To the next match, we have Sheamus versus Kazar. Kazar. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Sheamus ends up winning. Then Sheamus confronts Braun Breaker. Sorry, Braun Breaker at the outside of the ring. Breaker alongside other people. I've noticed that's a trend now that they're having the wrestlers that's not participating as far as in the match. They have them sitting at the front row type thing as far as to build up. It's similar to like boxing. When you have the next person in line that everybody wants to see the two competitors go at it, they normally have that person sitting at the front row while they're watching their future competitor at it. So I guess they're taking a page out of the books of boxing and stuff like that. But yeah, so they started going back at it after Sheamus won his match. Him and Breaker started going back at it, so that sets up the match between him and Breaker to go at it. Um, Next up, we have Jay Uso. Jay Uso shoots a promo. All right. Jay Uso shoots a promo, gets interrupted by Gunther. Gunther says something very, very interesting. He says that you're a good entertainer, you're a good tag team wrestler. And I'm paraphrasing, but this was the interesting thing that he said. He said when he's finished with you, when he's finished with Jay Uso, all Jay Uso is going to be is known as a great tag team wrestler. So to me, Gunter was alluding to the fact that the best moments of Jay Uso is his entrance music, but once that bell rings, that's it. You start realizing that his wrestling is not really the greatest, and that to me, that's what Gunter was pretty much alluding to. I guess we'll find out. Guys, comment below. Let me know what you guys think about is Jay Uso pretty much his best moments is his entrance, and when it comes down to the match, does it fall flatline, or you feel like his match actually holds up the weight as far as his wrestling skills holds up the weight as far as his entrance? Sort of almost sounds like he's falling into the path of an ultimate warrior. Once you and tell me y'all guys didn't notice that he seemed a little winded doing that promo. Like when he was talking to Gunther, he was gasping for air. I mean, I don't know if y'all noticed this or whatnot. Yeah, listen, I'm freaking sweating up a storm right now. The AC is not working right now, so yes, I'm sweating. And I know a lot of you guys gonna be like, "Oh, look at him dripping sweat." Whatever, we're gonna get that fixed next time around. But anyway, bear with me. Let's get this going. It don't matter. It don't matter. All right. So yeah, so pretty much they set up a match for Saturday night. Main event is gonna be Jey Uso versus Gunther. Let me know what's your thoughts. Who's going to win that matchup? All right. Now moving on. We got Lyra. Lyra wins the first women's intercontinental championship. Congratulations to Lyra. That was a damn good match. She's the first woman to hold the intercontinental title. If you ask me personally, I'm thinking they involving too much titles, man. Too much title. I think the women's heavyweight championship and the tag team championship, that should be it for as far as for the women. But I mean, everybody got their own opinion. All right. And then we have Rhea Ripley. We got Rhea Ripley. She shoots her promo. And then we have Nia Jax interfere in her promo. And then we have Bayley on the outside, like Braun Breaker, on the outside observing everything. And she kindly asks Rhea Ripley for permission to intervene in the promo. Then she starts, going back and forth with Nia Jax. And then they start going at it and so on and so forth. Then we had the main event. We had Damian Priest. Damian Priest wins his as far as his no holds barred match. Anything goes. He was victorious as far as for that. Give me 1 second. I just got a message here. Give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it was Damian Priest versus Finn Balor at a no holds barred match. He ends up beating Finn Balor. Finn Balor. Sorry about that. And that was pretty much it as far as for Raw. To me, it was a pretty good Raw. The main event definitely held its weight. I felt the promo that was done between The Rock, between CM Punk and CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins, they was talking over each other. They was going back and forth, talking over each other. So I think it could have been done in a better form of fashion. But. Okay, now that we got that over with, damn, I'm really sweating. Ha! No matter. Let's go for my main event reason. I want to show you something that caught my eye. Yes, we all heard about Hulk Hogan being booed and whatnot. Yes, we heard about that. We also heard a lot of people voice their opinions based upon Hulk Hogan being booed. But I also wanted to share with you guys this. Let me know what your thoughts were on this one. I'm going to give a reaction to Rob Van Dam making a comment as far as Rob Van Dam's reaction to Hogan being booed. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go.
And Triple H, I think he came out and did a speech.
Yeah.
Saw a match or two. Didn't see the whole thing in its entirety, but of course I did see video of Hulk Hogan's part of the show on every single website and news platform that there is online. Like, everybody picked that up, and they still are.
Yeah.
Why is that such big news?
Look, I don't know. It's just like it is, and it's on mainstream websites too. Like news sites. I think it was covered on
Pro wrestler is booed at a wrestling event. I don't understand.
First up, RVD, you're asking the question, why is that such big news? Come on. I know you're towing the line right now. You don't want to upset anybody, but let's be honest. We all know the history of Hulk Hogan. Mind you, everybody has their own personal issue as far as dealing with Hogan. But you know what? Before I go any further, let me let this continue.
And why it's so hot. And I mean, Hogan, he's controversial and quite possibly the most recognizable celebrity on the planet. So, I get where that's hot, but they light him up and they let him cool down, light him up, lights himself up, cools down. He goes through the cycles always, and seems to dig himself back out mostly, and then bury himself again. And this one, I'm trying to figure out like why is everybody so into this moment that Hulk Hogan got booed, and I think maybe one factor.
Pick one. Pick a reason. Maybe because of the racist comment that he made. That's one. Maybe because of him taking the younger wrestler spots on the actual show. That's two. Maybe because of his political decisions as far as who he backs up politically. That's three. Um, the thing is, I've heard a lot of people say a couple of things as far as like, well, you have issues with Hogan saying racist comments, but you didn't have issues with Vince McMahon. There's a big difference between Vince McMahon, the character, and I grew up watching professional wrestling in the 80s. Let me tell you something. I grew up watching Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper must have said the most racist stuff ever. But there's a difference between Roderick and Roddy Piper. And another thing, going back to Vince McMahon actually targeted every nationality, every culture, every situation. Vince McMahon, one thing he showed, he hates everybody equally. All right. That's one thing I can say about Vince McMahon. So that's the reason why I continue watching the product, for those of you who actually said that. So I go by Don Devine, and I've made a comment on Rob Van Dam's podcast. And here's the situation. Rob Van Dam, it caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people had a lot of things to say based upon what I said as far as on that particular live. So I'm going to read what I wrote, but I'm going to finish playing this. Then I'm going to start reading what I wrote down and read some of the comments. And then we'll see. We'll take it from there and let me know what you guys think about it. Let's go.
Suspect, but I don't know, is everybody wants to fakeify wrestling so much so they can feel. People don't like to feel like they don't understand something, anything really, but they want to believe that they do have an understanding of how everything works. And I think that people, maybe one of the reasons that it's such a big topic is because people are thinking this wasn't their plan. WWE didn't want people to boo him. Hulk didn't want people to boo him. That he was supposed to get big cheers, and the crowd doesn't like him, so they booed him. So that, I think maybe that's part of the interest, is like they're trying to fakeify and set up instead of just going with the role. Roll with it. And hey, guess what? That happened. I mean, any other promo, Hulk would have just turned with him. Like, isn't that what he said he did with The Rock at WrestleMania?
Right.
Look, we got to change some things, brother. I mean, it's so I don't see how it's that big of a deal. I'm confused by it a little bit. I wonder what people think in the chat room.
Yeah, give us your thoughts on it. A lot of people say it's because of the political leanings with Trump and everything like that, and I think partially that might be something to do with it. They're in California; it's more like Democratic there. But
that's why he received boos, or that's why it's such big news.
I think that's why it's such big news. I think the fact that he was at the rally and he was at the Republican convention, and like he was the highlight of that night.
Was it just the left side? Oh, what do you mean? It was the highlight of the night?
Well, I think when the Republican National Convention happened, Hogan really stole the show that night. Like,
okay, yeah.
From that, and so I think that he was a lot in the mainstream mindset of that. Like Hogan was the big deal that night, and then here he comes out, LA, first episode of Raw on Netflix. The crowd just boos him. I think that, but like, I don't know if it's entirely all of the Trump stuff, because like the Undertaker was a supporter of Trump too, and he came out and he got cheered. Like that wasn't as much of a thing against him. So I thought it to be, I think a lot of the thing with Hogan when it comes to WWE and stuff like that, the past few years, he just hit like the paint by numbers catchphrases and plugged something with it. So like, what you gonna do when Netflix runs wild on you? And that's kind of all that is presented there, where instead they don't really incorporate him in a story, or they don't put him in a certain angle to kind of maybe give a little incentive for the fans to get invested. Or it's just like, oh, Hogan's here to say his catchphrase and plug something. And that's kind of what he did that night too. So I don't know if that had a little bit to do with it too, but Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that, he was the one that got booed out of everybody. So.
Yeah, and still making, people's.
All right, so I am going to read the comment that I wrote. I wrote, this is my opinion, so I'm sure everybody got their own. Uh, he his racist comment in the past is what got him booed, nothing else. That's why I said. Now let's read what some fans had to say. That is not the only reason. All right. Somebody else wrote, "You're right, man. I'm confused as to why RVD didn't know that." Towing the line. That's what I'm saying. I hate how Hogan's take. I hate how Hogan's take now. Well, I hate how Hogan's take not so low key shots at Macho Man, but then he used his name for a cheap pop. Yeah, yeah. Another fan said wrong. This was L.A. I guess this was because of his political stance. Um, Another one said Undertaker didn't get booed, and he's a hardcore MAGA. So there you go. For those who was talking about Hogan's political stand, so explain why Undertaker got cheered, because it's under my understanding that Hogan and Undertaker, they have the same. Both are MAGA supporters. They both support Donald Trump. Let's continue. It said wrong. Taker didn't show up at the Republican convention. I mean, to me personally, it didn't matter if Taker showed up at the Republican convention. He's still a Donald Trump supporter. So at the end of the day, whether he showed up there or not, but he made it publicly known that he supports Donald Trump. So yeah. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? It said, dude, hold up. It says, dude, Hogan's been back multiple times for promos and advertisement after his racist comments. They didn't boo Taker because Taker wasn't on nearly of a huge platform that Hogan was on, referring to the Republican convention. Okay. Yeah, he was back and forth. He was brought back and forth as far as in the business, but at the end of the day, he never apologized for those comments officially. Some of the guys even said it. Mark Henry even mentioned that too, and it was also noted too. And please fact check me on that one. It was also noted that the reason Hogan was brought back because there was a huge deal with the Saudis and stuff like that. And when he came back, yeah, part of the deal was he had to apologize to everybody that he offended. So we all know how genuine was that, what that was, because it was all for the paycheck. And then once he came back, apologized, then he got that fat paycheck. But maybe I'm wrong. You can fact check me on that. All right, let's go. Next up. Uh that plus the political thing. Somebody else said it wasn't just the racial, it was the political thing. I really am not leaning on the political thing is because again, Undertaker also take the same stance as Hogan, and yet he got cheered but Hogan got booed. It's deeper than that. Uh it says, is he hardcore MAGA? Another fan wrote down, is he hardcore MAGA or did he just support Trump in the election? There's a difference. There's a difference. Hardcore would be going on the stage of the Republican National Convention. Oh, let me just continue. National Convention and ripping your shirt off. Just having someone on your show and voting for them supposedly is pretty tame. Yeah, yeah. But regardless, they both take the same stands as far as being a Trump supporter, Hogan and Undertaker. But the point is that Undertaker got cheered, Hogan got booed again, which shows it's something deeper than just a political stance. Next up, uh, let's see. To be fair, I don't think Hogan is a hardcore MAGA either. He was just at the RNC for the paycheck. Hmm, maybe. Who knows? Um, Undertaker didn't cut a promo, so who knows if he would have gotten booed. Well, I mean, the minute Hogan appeared before he opened up his mouth, he started receiving the boos. Undertaker, again, he got all cheers. As a matter of fact, just to show you how people in the back, the younger generation, as far as in the business, they really deal, they really rock with Undertaker. What was Rhea Ripley's first response? And I'm not saying that it wasn't a work, but it looked pretty genuine to me. When Rhea Ripley won her title, she started lifting up her belt, doing her stick, and then music cuts. Undertaker comes in, and then it's like, wow. And she says, that's a pleasant surprise. And then she waits for Undertaker to do his thing, riding on the motorcycle, makes his round around the ring, and then as he returns, then they both do the stare down, turn around, look at the camera, and then lift their hands up. I mean, come on now, come on, come on, come on. And I believe that was all improv too, because that's why I know it was genuine, because you could see Undertaker telling her, "Look, turn around, face the camera," like the Undertaker's telling her what to do. But anyway, I digress. Was Hogan lying about his past comments, or should I highlight stats from Detroit and LA? I'm a Cuban American, so say something racist and stupid. I dare you. Next comment. I could see that, brother. All right. See again. Hogan got booed in Florida, my guy. He's just unlikable. He's well known, but his controversial acts over the years are so well known they transcended political. Let's see, continue reading. They transcended politics, and like others have said, Taker is a big MAGA guy, and he got a massive pop. Well, listen. At the end of the day, it's one of those things that you may hate him because of his racist comments. You may hate him because he's taking the spot of somebody younger in the business. You may hate him because of his political stand. At the end of the day, a lot of people have personal reasons why they dislike the man. That really doesn't stand well for Hogan, does it? Okay, here's one classic one. Uh oh, here we go. Here we go, guys. The past is the past. The past is the past. There's things that's happened in the past to other nationalities, to other countries, to other groups of people, and they make sure you remember it every year at a particular time. But the past is the past, right? Some fan wrote no, but saying the N word, saying the N word worse than beating your wife, Austin, or being homophobic. Taker, uh, Kenyon accused Taker. Kenyon accused Taker. Okay. Next up, but he billed someone because the person was gay. Chris Canyon. Okay. It says, but he billed someone because the person was gay. Chris Canyon. All right. Some fan wrote that. Somebody else said, those comments are over 10 years ago. Most people don't remember that. Well, because of social media, guess what? They do. They do. Let's go. It is. It is. Somebody agreed as far as saying because he's racist. It is. I know you don't want to admit it, but but it really is the sole reason he got booed. There you go. Somebody else wrote, that's a huge part, but not the sole part. Okay. Somebody else wrote, he had Trump on the podcast that evening, bigger than the convention. Bigger than the conversation. Sorry about that. Okay. I guess he was talking about Undertaker again, but yet Undertaker didn't get booed. So you guys mentioning that because he was on the because Hogan was actually at the convention and stuff like that, I don't think it made a difference. It's deeper reasons than that. Uh if if who Hulk Hogan votes for and supports, then you have a bigger issue that need to be addressed. Is your life that boring? Now being a racist is a whole different subject. Yeah. If you can confidently say, if you can confidently say most boo Hogan due to political, then the racism doesn't barely exist. People who have a point. If racism was so rare that the entire world would let's continue reading. The entire world would turn on someone for saying something offensive. Would turn would turn on someone for saying something offensive. Hogan is booed not to racism. Hogan gets booed in his hometown. All right, whatever he's trying to say. Next up, had enough of Hulk Hogan, and people are blowing this up and making it all about him. LOL. No. Chicken is coming home to roost now. His spot is being blown up. Let's go. Then why did he get booed in his hometown of Tampa? Well, I gave you my point of view. The fans are telling you their point of view. Collectively, he doesn't really stand a good chance as being a fan favorite, does he? Whether you think it's not because of what I think, because of racism, okay, maybe it's a political stand. All right. And if you don't think because of that, maybe it's him taking the spots away from the younger generation. I don't know. Maybe of his politics backstage. I don't know. Or maybe they just don't like real American beer. What the? All right. Nobody even watched the RNC. Okay, last comment. People do know one cares about wrestling. Okay, you guys think it's me as far as with this reading situation. Yeah, I'm trying my best to read through this. Okay, people do know one cares about wrestling. Okay, you probably wrote this with voice texting instead of writing this out. But anyway, politics is more important than wrestling. Well, I mean, it's a combination of different things. Um, Again, you will find Undertaker, him being part of the older school. He's well accepted in the locker room. He's well accepted as far as on TV. He's not nationally known worldwide as far as with, like Hulk Hogan, but again, for the most part, yeah, he's pretty much accepted. So listen, guys, I'm not gonna ramble on. That's it for me. Tell me what your thoughts were as far as about the Raw that just happened and about my reaction to Rob Van Dam's reaction to Hulk Hogan being booed. Hey, look, I ain't sweating no more. Finally cooled down. It was rough in the beginning, man. Holy smokes. Got to definitely get this AC fixed. But yeah, till next time, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Now I'm about to get up, get behind the camera, and get off this live.